All right. We back, y'all. We back. Numbers 11 and 24.
Numbers 11 and 24. And Moses went out and told the people the words of Yahuwah, and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and set them round about the tabernacle. And Yahuwah came down in a cloud, and spake unto him, and took of the spirit that was upon him, and gave it unto the 70 elders. And it came to pass that when the spirit of Ruach rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease. But there remained 2 of the men in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. And the Ruach rested upon them, and they were of them that were written, but went not out unto the tabernacle, and they prophesied in the camp. And there ran a young man and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad do prophesy in the camp.
As if it was a bad thing, right? Eldad and Medad. Go ahead.
And Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of Moses, one of his young men, answered and said, My lord Moses, forbid them. And Moses said unto him, Enviest thou for my sake? Would Elohim that all the Yahuwah's people were prophets, and that Yahuwah would put his Ruach upon them?
So he asked him, he said, are you envious for my sake? He said, would the Elohim all of his people were prophets, and that he would put his Ruach on them. But notice these 70 elders, he put his Ruach on them first. He didn't require, there were no requirements of them as far as their character, other than the fact that they was elders of the people and leaders of the people, right? And then he took the Ruach that was on Moses and placed it on them. Now, when the Ruach was placed on them, what do you think was the purpose of him putting the Ruach on them? Exactly. So they could share the responsibility that Moses had, right? So we understand Moses was already described as what type of person?
Meek.
The most meek man that was on the face of the earth, right? So that same Ruach that rested on him, he put on them so they could rightly judge the people and take some of the burden off of Moses. So understanding that the Ruach was put on them first, and then the things that they were able to operate in, the things that the Ruach produced, right? But I agree with what Nate says. First, you have to purge what's in you. Make sure that the Ruach have a clean place to be able to rest, right? So as far as temperance goes, we determined that temperance was what? Self-control, right? If somebody else says something else. Self-control. What did you say, Lana? Temperance was self-control, emotional regulation. Good. And this another one. Get 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. 1 Corinthians 9 and 24.
1 Corinthians 9 and 24. But unto them which are called both Jews and Greeks.
1 Corinthians?
Oh, 9 and 24. My bad. Y'all needed to hear that. First Corinthians 9 and 24. Know you not that they which run in a race run all, but one receives the prize. So run that you may obtain.
So he's talking about a physical race, right? Like a competition. Everybody runs, but there's only one winner, right? Go ahead.
And every man that strive for mastery is temperate in all things. Now they that do it too obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible.
So these men that run a race, they do it to obtain a corruptible reward. But our reward that we run for this race is an incorruptible one, right? But when it says any man that strive for mastery, it says is temperate in all things. What does it mean to be temperate in all things? Say it again. Moderate. I agree. Moderate. So when you're talking about moderation as you live in your like when you apply moderation in your life, what does it look like? Stability, balance. So when you're stable and you're balanced, in order to remain that way, what do you have to be? Boom. Discipline. So when it's talking about being temperate in all things, he's talking about discipline, right? If you strive for mastery, or we strive to obtain a reward, you have to be disciplined. Have you ever trained for anything before? What happens if you get off track? Every time we all, I'm sure everyone in here has dieted before. That's probably one of the main things that we probably all have in common. We done all tried a particular diet. But most diets don't work long term because what? There's no because you're not choosing to do something that you can maintain over time. You think you want a quick fix, and so I'm gonna eat cabbage for the next 2 weeks, and I'm gonna go on this master cleanse and drink this lemonade for a week, and I'm gonna lose a quick 10, 15 pounds, and I ain't gonna eat no food. I'm just gonna drink this lemon and maple syrup water. And then as soon as you put solid food back in your system, it's gonna come right back. So the purpose of cleanses is to cleanse out your system. So what? So then don't put the bad stuff back in. Cleanse the system, and then start eating properly, so that the system will cleanse itself on a regular basis. But that requires a level of discipline, right? So when we're talking about the word as it pertains to the word and as it pertains to this walk, when we're talking about the fruit of the Ruach, right? There has to be a level of discipline, right? We have to be like the diet of the word that we take, and they have to be consistent, because you can read some and you digest it, and then if you don't read anymore for a long time, what happens to the way you start moving? You ever peep that you stepped out of bounds, so to speak? Like, dang, I shouldn't have did that. I don't know what's going on, because what happens is your discipline fall off, and you're not feeding yourself a steady diet of this word, nor are you perfect anymore, because you're not walking the way you're supposed to walk, because of your discipline ain't there. Your consistency is lacking. You follow what I'm saying? Let's get Proverbs 25 and 28.
Proverbs 25 and 28. He that have no rule over his own ruach is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
So when it says no rule over his own ruach, what does that mean? No control, no self-control, right? Well, what they say nowadays, he ain't got no filter, because you can't. Something happened and you can't hold it. You ever those type of people is like, I got to say something. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't got to say something. Like, but that comes with having a level of self-control to be able to be silent sometimes, right? To be able to just be quiet sometimes. But he say, he that have no rule over his own ruach is like a city broken down and without walls. What happens to a city that's broken down without walls? It's overtaken, easily overtaken, right? So just thinking about the story of Jericho, when they first was coming into the land, they didn't even have to fight to overtake Jericho. They just had to walk around the walls, and once they walked around the walls, what happened? The walls fell down, and they took the city like that. That's the whole point of it. If you can't control yourself, you're easily overtaken by, we talking about on an emotional level, Could be sorrow, could be grief, could be anger, could be depression, right? But it comes with a level of discipline and a level of self-control. If you're not, what's that? Yeah. The whole time they was walking, nobody whispered to themselves, man, well, how many times we got to walk around this wall? Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's stupid.
This
man.
is stupid. What we just walking for? By the time we go to fight, we gonna be tired of all this walking we doing. And they walked around Jericho. What was Jericho? Was it a castle? It was a what? It was a city. How long do you think it would take you to walk around a city? Right? This is a city. And they walked around it seven times. It wasn't a building. It wasn't a...
Hopefully it was like Inkster.
No, it might have been a small...
I can throw a rock across it.
It might have been a small city. But, it might have been a small city. But even still, walk around Highland Park one time and see how if you want to walk around it the second time. It's still a city, right? But so just understanding the time that it took to walk around this city, like you said, in complete silence, being obedient, it took discipline, right? And then once they showed their level of discipline and obedience, then the reward was the walls fell and they overtook the city, right? Let's grab Ephesians 4:26. Because this is one of the major ones. Matter of fact, before we go there, Proverbs 15:18. Then we'll go Ephesians.
Proverbs 15:18. A wrathful man stirs up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife.
That's good. So now grab Ephesians 4:26. So it says, a wrathful man stirs up strife. I wanted to really dig into what wrath is, right? What if you had to put wrath in your own words, what is wrath? Say it again. Anger, rage, uncontrolled rage, intense rage. Is it a bad thing?
Depends on the person it's coming from.
It depends on the source, right? Yahuwah definitely has rage. He definitely has wrath, for sure. Ephesians 4:26.
Ephesians 4:26. Be you angry and sin not.
So we read this quite often, right? Which lets you know that that anger is an emotion, right? And it's okay to experience the emotion of anger, right? It's okay to be angry, right? As long as it don't lead to sin, right? So this goes into what Lana was saying as far as temperance goes, emotional regulation, right? Because if you're a person who is overcome by anger, right? This city without walls, if you're overcome by anger, what's soon to follow your anger? Wrath. Right? Wrath. So finish that up.
Be you angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil.
So when you see let not the sun go down on your wrath, what does that mean? What do you think that means? Hold that, grab Deuteronomy 24:14. But what do y'all think that means? Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Say it again. Quickly resolve the wrath. What was you saying earlier? Don't go to bed angry. I agree with that. But that would mean that you would have wrath, right? But are you supposed to have wrath? You say it's not always. You can. You can. But when you go through a period of rage or wrath, how should you handle it after that? I mean, quickly, but how do you handle it? What do you do?
You have to control it.
You have to control it.
And not it control you.
But which means that when it says don't let the sun go down in your wrath, that if you do experience a period of wrath where you go through and you have that emotional response to something and that anger turns into some type of physical action, you still there has to be a resolution, and you don't let it carry on to the next day, because once you allow things to carry on and linger, then it just gets worse and worse and worse. And y'all ever had a problem with somebody or found out that somebody had a problem with you and it lingered so long that you don't even remember what it started from? And now you just know that, man, I can't stand her. Man, I can't stand. Man, he get on my nerves.
First thing he say to me tomorrow, I'm going in this.
But for what reason? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you don't even remember. Go Deuteronomy 24:14.
Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 14. You shall not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of your brethren or of the stranger that are in your gates.
So he's telling you shall not oppress these people. What is he saying? What does it mean? Deuteronomy 24:14. So if you oppress a hired servant or somebody that's poor and needy, it said oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy. What do you think you're doing to oppress them? Say it again, Sister One. Well, it says a hired servant that's poor and needy. How do you oppress somebody that you hired that's poor and needy? Boom. Right there. You don't pay them. So this is the law behind this. Do not oppress these people or withhold their wage, right? Verse 15.
At his day you shall give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against you unto Yahuwah,
and what?
And it be sin unto you.
So, if you try to oppress him and keep his wage from him, you say don't let the sun go down. Pay him before the day is out. This is when the sun going down on your wrath. This is the same principle behind it. Rectify the situation before the sun goes down, or else it's going to be sin upon you. Right? Let's go back Ephesians 4, verse 28.
So we're supposed to get paid every day, right? Instead of every week or every 2 weeks.
Unless that's what you agreed on. It depends. Yeah. It depends on what the agreement is.
I'm saying the real way, you're supposed to get your money at the end of the day. I shouldn't have to wait.
Yeah.
I put a week in the hole.
Yeah.
I work the day, give me my money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But that was probably put in place because of Joker comment. He'll get his money for the day and he would take off, and then you can't keep him hired. They want you to come back to work every day. Right? Because if you got to work a week in the hole, I know you're going to show up tomorrow. I know you're going to show up the next day. I know you're going to show up the next day. Then when you get that check, you done acquired so much debt. Now you need to use this check to pay your debt. Now you got to work another week. All right? It's yeah. Oh, yeah. They going to take them taxes. That's for certain. Yeah, now they work without pay. Now that's oppression for sure. Matter of fact, let's start back at verse 26, Ephesians 4 and 26.
Ephesians 4:26. Be you angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil.
Okay.
Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the things which is good, that he may have to give to him that needeth. Let no corrupt communications proceed out of your mouth.
But what?
But that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers.
That's good. So as we read through this, we'll stop at let not the sun go down on your wrath, right? But then it goes on to expound and tell you, let those who steal no more, but work and labor so that you're able to help somebody else that's in need. And then let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth, but let something that's gonna be used for the edifying, that it may minister or serve grace unto the hearer, right? So the things that you say and the things that you do, you are held accountable for, right? Proverbs 16 and verse 32.
Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty.
So do it tell you not to be angry? So so when it's talking about being slow to anger, what is another term, another word? Say it again. Who said that? Temperate, patient. What'd you say it again? Long suffering. You all right? All of these are what? All of these are fruits of the Ruach, right? So I agree with what Elder Larry said. We get to that part. What he said before. We get to that part. Proverbs 19:11. I'm sorry. Finish that out. My bad.
He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his ruach than he that takes a city.
So somebody that is controls their own ruach is better than he that can take a city, right? Proverbs 19:11.
Proverbs 19:11. The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his esteem to pass over a transgression.
To pass, it says it's his esteem, or it really says an ornament or beauty, but this is a beautiful attribute for somebody that's able to be able to defer their anger or delay it, or be patient with a situation and not be quick to anger, right? James 1 and 18.
James 1 and 18. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man works not the righteousness of Elohim.
It says the wrath of man works not the righteousness of Elohim. So we're talking about what Lana said, emotional regulation, right? What do we need to be able to regulate our emotions and our actions? The Ruach. How do we obtain it? How do we obtain it? This is based on what you said initially, Elder Larry. How do we obtain it? How did you say we obtain that spirit? There you go. Psalms 19 and verse 7. Because if you found yourself to be this type of person that's quick to anger, quick to wrath, and you know that this is what you dealing with, right? And I just chose one emotion that we probably like all pretty familiar with, right? Everybody done had a episode of anger before. We can all relate to that. So that's why I chose anger in particular, because it's relatable. But this will be across the board when it comes to regulating our emotions, whether it be happiness, anger. Notice when it talk about the fruit of the Ruach, it don't say happiness, right? It says what? Joy, right? What's the difference? Situational, and it said again, Marcus, is what? It's temporary, right? But if you experience true joy, it doesn't matter what happens, right? Like I say, happiness is a what they call a inside job, right? It's not my responsibility to make another person happy. right? Because it's impossible. It's impossible for me to make you happy if you're depressed inside, right? It is. I agree. Yeah, joy is just the way that you live, right? It's literally a fruit of the spirit. It literally is, because the happiness, like you said, is just a feeling. It's temporary. It comes and goes.
Right.
It comes and goes. But if you're truly joyous, it doesn't matter what happens around you. That joy is not affected, you know, because you can have a period where even though you're joyful on the inside, you truly are joyful. You can have a period to where you experience sorrow. But the sorrow, what it say? Weeping may last for the night, but right, it comes in the morning. It won't last. Exactly. You're supposed to count it as joy, because like Lana said, joy is a mindset, as opposed to happiness being something that's temporary, because it'll come and go in spurts. Like, oh, today was a good day. I feel happy. Or just someday you might look up and be like, man, I'm having a bad day. But those bad days don't last when you have joy and contentment in your heart. Like, bad days happen, but they don't last. You know? But if you're suffering from some type of depression, good days don't last. They come and they go, but they don't last, because you feel uncertain. And then to expect somebody on the outside to be able to make you happy when you're experiencing sorrow in the inside, it's an impossible task. It's an impossible task for you to think that somebody else can make you happy. It has to come from inside. And that joy, that peace, it comes from that perfection that we're talking about. That being complete, thoroughly furnished, right? I got everything that I need. So anything additional is just a bonus. I got everything that I need. Anything on top of this is just a bonus. So I'm good. I'm content with what this is. But a bonus, that's a better day for sure, right? Psalms 19:7.
Psalms 19:7. The law of Yahuwah is perfect.
So that's telling you that the law is perfect. It's the same type of perfect, right? Complete. The law is complete. It's not lacking anything, right? What does this complete law do? Read.
Converting the soul.
It does what?
Converting the soul.
Uh-huh.
The testimony of Yahuwah is sure, making wise the simple.
So if the law converts the soul, right? Let's get Romans 7 and verse 7. If the law converts the soul, right, what type of person are you before receiving the law, right? So once you understand the requirements that it takes to walk upright, righteousness, right? Prior to receiving the instructions, you have a desire of, I want to walk a certain way, right? But how do I do it? I want to be a police officer. How do I do it? You have to go through training, right? I want to be righteous, but how do I do it? You have to go through training. There are instructions. This is the instruction manual. Walk this way. Part of that is you got to wear the proper uniform. You have to be dressed appropriate. Because if you're dressed in a certain way, people who look and see that, you can't think that this woman is deemed righteous if she's dressed she got on a whore's uniform, right? So if she dressed like a whore, she got on a uniform. How you know what I'm saying? Or a man, if you're dressed in the uniform of somebody that could be deemed a thief, if you're not dressed properly, because just it's a real thing, like looking and judging, or I won't even say judging, discerning what type of person that you're dealing with. The first thing that you see is their appearance, and if their appearance is something that don't look quite right, you're very reluctant to try to find out what else there is to it. No, that don't look quite right. I'm just going to stay away from there, you know. But Romans 7:7.
Romans 7:7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Elohim forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, you shall not covet.
So what does this mean? What does this mean? When we talking when we talking the law converting the soul, what does this mean? Facts. So one of the things that I think that we can all relate to, far as the law, is the dietary part of it, right? Until you found out that we weren't supposed to eat certain things, which we then cut out of our diet, you ate whatever you wanted, right? Whatever was pleasing to your palate, you lusted or desired after it, right? But even though something might still taste good, like I just keeping it real, like bacon tastes good, right? But you don't eat it because you understand that the law says don't eat it. We talking about, you know, but just keeping it real, the reason why you try to have turkey bacon or beef bacon, right? You try to compensate because the taste that you got from the other stuff. But now that you found out, well, no, it ain't no good. I can't have it because the law tell me I can't have it. Then you try to compensate, even if you're vegan. You seen the videos where they try to make rice paper taste like bacon?
Yeah. Banana peels, all type of stuff.
All of it tastes like bacon. That's how good bacon is. They try to make it out of, right? Try to make anything taste like bacon. But understanding that we understand that we didn't know that these things were not proper until we saw it in the law that it said, do not touch it. Then it's like, okay, let me cut that out, right? So that's kind of everything. That's everything. When we come across it in the law, once you come across it and it say don't do, and you still doing, it's like, dang, how do you delay the change, or is the change immediate?
You got to do it right then and there.
You do it right then and there. And in order to maintain that change, what does it take? Discipline and self-control, absolutely. This is why temperance is one of the fruit of the Spirit. Because once you understand, so when we talking about even the desire to know the law, right? And I asked the question, what come first, the chicken or the egg? Do the attributes come first or the Spirit come first, right? I can remember before I even dealt with the truth at all, before I dealt with it, like I knew Bible, right? I've been in church and all this stuff. But it came a particular time where I just started feeling a certain way. I didn't want to shop. I didn't want to shop with certain people. I didn't want to deal with certain people. I just started feeling a certain way about certain things. And it's like, nah, just out of the blue, like, nah, man, I ain't spending my money with them no more. I started becoming aware of things that were affecting our community and how we were being exploited, right? And then I was hip to what the scriptures say. And I was like, oh, like it didn't take no time. And I feel like that was like the Spirit kind of gave me the desire to know more, you know what I'm saying, to learn more. And then when it hit me, when I was like saw the scriptures, it happened like a light switch, like, oh, shoot, we the people. Yep, we the people. Oh, my goodness, right? That's how it happened for me. So I feel like that the Ruach was there first. Then you find out, okay, well, what is this about? And you start diving into the law, the do's, the don'ts, the instructions, right? And then you start walking it out. And then now you convert like your soul. Now you're no longer a terrible person because I'm applying what this law says and how I'm supposed to treat other people. Now I know how to treat my own body because the instructions say this is how you take care of yourself. This is how you're supposed to operate with your children. This is how you're supposed to operate with your parent. This is how you're supposed to protect my set apart day. And it's like, oh, okay. And you change, right? So this complete law, it converts you from who you once were based on your desire to please the Most High, my opinion. So when we're talking about getting back to what we're saying, regulating our emotions, it's based on really the desire to know and perform the law, right? So now understanding what the scriptures say about like wrath, what the scripture says about like anger and all of these other different emotions, right? In order to regulate these things, all we really have to do is just walk out and perform what is stated here in the law. It's really just that simple. It's not much more difficult than that. Let's get 1 Corinthians 3. 1 Corinthians 3. Matter of fact, before we go there. Psalms 118 and verse 8. I want to come full circle, which is Psalms 118 verse 8. 118.
Psalms 118 and verse 8. It is better to trust in Yahuwah than to put confidence in man.
That's good. Jeremiah 17 and 5. So when it says it's better to trust in Yah than to put confidence in man. So we go back to all the way back to when he told us, when you come into the land, don't do what the people of the land is doing. They seeking out witches and wizards and necromancers and all these other people looking for answers, when in fact all you have to do is just trust in me and follow my law, right? That's all you really have to do. So when we read here that it's better to trust in Yah than to put confidence in man. So when we reading different things, like I said, I try to equate it to like, because it's not every day you run across like a witch or a wizard or a soothsayer or a necromancer, right? But them doggone horoscopes will pop up and you will read it, and honestly, sometimes it's coincidentally, it aligns, right? But when we're looking for answers, the answers lie with the Most High. He have them. When these things might coincidentally align, then you start to put your faith in it, and you start to walk after it, and you start to check it, and then you say, oh shoot, this is like, it doesn't regulate who you are as a person. That's the thing you have to be careful with. You read it, but understand what it is, what it's coming from, but don't allow it to dictate how you move, how you act, right? You understand what I'm saying? Jeremiah 17 and 5. Because at the end of the day, some person wrote this based on their interpretation of the stars, creation, the things that the Most High actually set in order, right? Jeremiah 17, 5.
Jeremiah 17 and 5. Thus saith Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusts in man and makes flesh his arm, and whose heart departs from Yahuwah.
So when it says who makes flesh his arm, what does that mean? His strength is in man. Cursed is this man whose strength, who relies on other men as or man as a strength, even self, right? Verse 7.
Increased is the man that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope is in Yahuwah. For he shall be a tree planted by the waters, and spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit.
So neither, so what?
Cease from yielding fruit.
Okay, so when we're talking about somebody that trusts in man, right? And it's saying, cursed is he that trusts in man. Sometimes a man can provide what it is that you need, right? But what happens with that? Is it consistent? Is it long term? It's usually very temporary, right? So when we read that increased or blessed is the man that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope is in him, it says, for he shall be a tree planted by waters and spreads out her roots. What is this describing? A tree that's planted by waters whose roots, say it again? Permanent, right? Right? This is something that's much more, it has longevity and much more permanent when you put your trust in the Most High. It might, and understanding the analogy of the tree planted, it don't happen overnight. A tree has to mature before it can produce fruit, right? So it requires patience. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people may not trust in the Most High, because it takes a level of patience, because it don't happen overnight. It don't happen overnight. It takes time, right? And that's the one thing that we want. We need everything right now. Let me go through this drive-thru. I'm hungry. I don't feel like going home and cooking. I'm going to ride through this drive-thru and get me a burger real fast. Because we don't have the patience that it takes to go home and prepare your own meal. But that meal that you prepare yourself is going to be much more fulfilling. It's going to be better for you. Like, all of the benefits far outweigh what you can get from this drive-thru when you grab this chicken. But the chicken is good because it's temporary and it tastes good, but it's bad for you. You feel what I'm saying? But we live in such a microwave society that I'd rather pop this bag in the microwave and pop this popcorn in a minute and a half and to put it on the stove and put the good stuff in it. It's going to taste better. It's going to be better for you. Like, all of, I need it right now. I can't wait. It's my money and I want it now. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 1. Three and 1. 1 Corinthians 3 and 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 1. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in a Mashiach. Have I fed you with milk and not with meat? For hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are you able, for you are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are you not carnal and walk as men?
So here, what he's describing is basically that it requires a level of maturity to even understand the spiritual aspect of his word, right? So he's delivering it where he say, I'm giving you milk and not meat, because you still think carnally. You're still dealing with envyings and strife and dealing with the nonsense, right? Instead of able to really be to retain the spiritual aspect of the word, because you ain't made it there yet. You haven't matured to that level enough yet where you can digest the real substance in this word, right? So we have to get being able to trust in the Most High. It requires a level of maturity, right? And maturity happens through experience. So like what we was talking about last week, we was talking about wisdom, the wisdom aspect, right? How do you know that you reach the level where I can share my wisdom with other people and be, but it takes maturity. It takes progression. It takes patience, and it takes time, right? And it takes discipline, consistency, right? All of these things are required in order to reach a certain level where now I can impart wisdom on somebody else, right? Y'all with me? All right, let's go. Say it again. 5 minutes. Was it 5 minutes or 5 scriptures? Okay. I'm going to just skip to the end. Isaiah 26. Isaiah 26, verse 2. Yeah, two more, Nate. Two more.
26 what?
26 and 2.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 2. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in.
Uh-huh.
Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace.
Keep him how?
In perfect peace.
Uh-huh.
Whose mind is stayed
Whose
on
what?
Whose mind is stayed on you.
Uh-huh.
Because he trusts in you.
Because he what?
He trusts in you.
So it says whose mind is stayed on you because he what?
Trust in you.
Uh-huh.
Thou will he keep him in perfect peace. Trust in Yahuwah forever. For Yahuwah is everlasting strength. For he brings down them.
That's good. That's good right there. But it say, trust in the Most High forever. For in Yahuwah is everlasting strength, which means that the strength that lasts forever, right? Joshua 1 and 8, and we'll finish up. Joshua 1 and 8. Because it's heavy on the trust. When we're talking about the fruit of the Spirit, it's very, very heavy on the trust aspect. That this word is actually going to be, it's actually going to come to fruition. Like, you got to believe it. Joshua 1 and 8.
Joshua 1 and 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night.
Oh, so it say meditate therein day or night. Remember that Isaiah 26 and verse 3 says, you will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you, right? So it say in Joshua, it says, but you shall meditate therein day and night. Go ahead.
That thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
So what's the purpose of meditating on it day and night? Yeah. It says, read that verse again. All right.
This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
but you shall meditate therein day and night.
For this reason, read.
That thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
For what?
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
So, he say meditate therein day and night, right? So you can observe to do all that is there, right? And then, once you observe to do the things that is there, we're talking about the law being converting the soul, right? And making the man perfect or complete. Once you observe to do all that's therein, it says, for then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success, right? So the requirement is to read and understand the law, walk in it, and then your way will be prosperous. And trust in the Most High. Trust that the word says what it says and do what it says. And then you shall make your way prosperous and have great success. Y'all see this? Okay. I'm done, Nate. I'm done. You take me off the clock. That's it. That's it. I ain't got no more.
Questions, comments, concerns. You love it, you hate it. Teach one of the fruit of the Spirit next week to continue the series. How we going to go? We got one going.
We got the next. We got the next. Y'all can get part 3. What'd you say earlier?
So
It will continue. We got the.
got a quick one for y'all. Hold on one second. B went to them scripts about wizards and witches and necromancers and things of that nature, right? What did he say was the connection between all of them things? They were doing what? To get some sort of information. Who was the first witch or wizard, a necromancer?
Say probably the serpent.
Who was it? I want you to say it with your chest. There you go. Because they was looking for what?
Wisdom.
Some information, right? She wanted, what did she say? The tree to do what?
To make one wise.
That's why I asked, who was the first what? Wizard or witch or necromancer? Yeah. All comes from him. He came and tempted them with something that they didn't know. The information thing. This is the reason why a lot of people go off, because we are searching for this hidden information. The Bible itself is not good enough for most people. That's why it's always, have you read this book? Did you go into this book? Have you done this book? That's a part of that theme that have you searching for other stuff, and it take you off. Go ahead. One sec. Yeah, it was definitely in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 18, verse 10. It says, there shall not be found among you anyone that makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. So that's Deuteronomy 18, verse 10 and 11.
Anybody else?
So the thirst for the quote-unquote hidden knowledge is very great amongst the Israelite community, and it's been that way from the time we got into it. What your boy always say, I have a book. I have another book. And see, you can't get it from there, you got to get it from here. So when you go into this book, then you can find out. Because the book, yes, you need this other book,
So, somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always, well, why would you not use this book when these people took it out and they outlawed it? See, you missing half the story. Well, you don't even know Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, Leviticus. You got to know them books first. If you learn them books right there, guarantee it'll weed the rest of that stuff out. As soon as you get in them other books, if you know them 5 books, the rest of that stuff will get weeded out. And you will see off the rip, this don't line up.
So somebody asks, going off the lesson of last week about meekness, would integrity be another meaning of it? So what I always equate integrity. Does anybody know have a understanding of what integrity is? Exactly. When nobody's paying attention or watching, you doing the right thing no matter what. So integrity, I won't necessarily think that it would be more so a byproduct of righteousness, right? Like integrity, just you're doing the right thing, not for any particular reason other than it being the right thing. So don't nobody have to see you. You don't have to get any recognition. You don't have to be, lifted up. Because it say the things that you do in private, you're gonna be rewarded how? Openly, right? So you don't have to, hey, watch me do something nice for somebody. No, just do something nice. That's integrity. Right? So yeah, I guess meekness would be a part of that too, because I would think that when you're doing it to be seen, that's yeah, that's more so a prideful thing, right? You had a question, Lana? Did you have a question? There were sorcerers. Right.
So the next time they say, "What's your sign?" Tell me about me before I say it. Tell me right now what it is. Before I say I'm this, tell me. Because that's what they see. I knew a Virgo. See, y'all Virgo. No, tell me up front.
Yeah, somebody say, "Oh, Capricorns is narcissists." Like what? What? Oh, Capricorns is narcissists. Wait, how do you determine that? You know every Capricorn? Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, if you're a terrible person, you're just a terrible person. And I don't think I can attribute that to your sign. Yeah, yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, dream. It could be familiar spirits. Could be. Yeah, it could be familiar spirits. Could be, but you put a lot of stake in dreams. The most. Yeah.
And somebody, her name starts with a T. Yeah. He has on a wrap around the head.
Oh,
And
it just so happened all your children's names start with T. Yeah. Yeah, and in your memory. Yeah.
Oh,
Nah,
that
if
dream was so real.
if they give you if they come to you and give you the 3-digit though, you better play it. You better make sure you play that 3-digit.
Listen not to this man. He is a necromancer. Get him out of here.
Straight 50-50.
Because now, because if you hit off that one, you gone.
Go.
Now I'm taking sleeping pills to get to sleep. Oh yeah, come back and tell me the 4-digit.
Get you one of them little books. Let me see. What do car accident play for?
That's Money Roll. That's such and such hotel room. In 1945, he was in that room. I remember that number.
You just got you a new car. What's the plate on that car? What's the plate? What's the tag number? What's the tag number on that car?
Hey, we had all the little books. What the little books are? Dream books and all that stuff is a part of this wickedness.
The necromancer is like waking the dead.
It's divination.
You got divination. You got soothsaying. You got but a lot of it's divination.
Yep, observers of time, enchanters, and charmers, consulters with familiar spirits, wizards, necromancers.
Go ahead, Sakal, then Atlanta. Go ahead, Sakal. Dream. You talking about them little things with the little feet or the the tails hanging off of them? What's the point of it? Do it work for you when you had any nightmares? If I don't see it in the scripture that say if you don't want to have bad dreams, get you one of these little nets with the tails on it.
Cut that rabbit foot off.
Yeah.
Had a little rabbit foot on hanging on you on the belt. How many rabbits that lost their foot for this?
Yeah. What you got, Lana? Yeah. But I have those all the time. They're like what they call deja vu. I experience that all the time. I don't know what that's called, but I know that like there are people who are gifted who get visions, and then there are people who are gifted with the interpretation of them. Got to be careful.
If they say do this and cross your legs, and put the candles in there and say Dorakiri, get out
all the time. Yeah, for sure. But then when it happens, then you can recall like, oh, yeah, I get it. I say I experienced that whole thing where something will happen. I'll be like, oh man, like I dreamt this before. Like that happens all the time. I don't know what to do with it, but it happens.
The little lady that used to be out at Gibraltar Trade Center, she be sitting at the table, the little with the dot in the forehead, right? Used to walk past. I'm scared of her. Like, I don't know nothing about this, but I know that don't look right. Come. No. Nope, I'm not. Whatever you doing, it ain't right. My Ruach don't agree with it. And again, I didn't know about none of this. I just knew that ain't right. And don't mess with it.
Yeah, we got.
Exactly.
We got any announcements? Go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. The soul, the body. But it's gonna bring the spirit along with it.
The Ruach is in the middle. I mean, the soul is in the middle, and you had the flesh, and you had the spirit on one side. They are fighting for the soul. So if you let the flesh win out, it's going to take the soul, because the spirit comes from on high and the flesh comes from the ground, right? They are opposites of each other. The flesh can't wait to get back to the ground, and the spirit wants to get back to Yah. So they are at war all the time. And most of the time, if you don't get yourself together, the flesh is usually winning. You got to switch the dynamic of that and make the Ruach win. That's why Paul's talking about, I die daily and I beat my flesh into subjection every day, because it's like the pride. Even though you thought you killed it, it's Jason. It's coming right back. No matter what you did, shot it and cut the head off, buried one part over here and took the other part and killed it in acid, it's coming back. So you got to stay on it.
Nate? No announcements. Everybody get the feast day schedule. He posted it on the YouTube stream, so check the comments if you need to see the feast day schedule. New moon is Friday. This coming Friday. And what month we going into? 12th month. New moon is Friday, going into the 12th month. You said, what'd you say, Mama? Oh, are we getting together? Yeah, it's been kind of hit or miss the last few times, huh? What's on the menu, Nate? That's what's gonna determine if we're gonna be here. What's on the menu? You know how. We gotta put something good on the menu. That's some jerk. Put some jerk chicken on the menu, Nate. Some jerk. I make whatever. You let me know. Potluck.
Be gonna get it from the restaurants and bring it on in.
We don't deal with luck, Landon. We don't deal with luck. It's pot. It's pot blessings. Pot blessings. All right. What you got, Out?
I had a question for you, Mello, about what you just said about the spirit and the flesh fighting over the soul. So is that why people commit suicide? Because the flesh can't wait to get back to the ground, and the ruach can't wait to get back to Yah? Is that why people do that?
I couldn't tell you why somebody commit suicide. It's basically, I can't live with something no more. You know what I mean? Like, it's, they depressed about something that then took place in their life. You know what I mean? Like, it's certain things that I would think that I would rather die than to live. It's certain things that took place. So, but yeah, I think it would be different for everybody. It's an individual thing.
Got a prayer request that came in from a sister Michelle. She says, pray for her marriage to be restored and for them to be one, for them to be friends again and to find love again. Almost 3 years of marriage warfare is wearing them down. And they just want to be free from the breakdown and the discord, and to have wisdom and trust again. So sister, just keep Sister Michelle in your prayers. Probably someone from the stream.
Got you.
In her marriage.
All right. We're going to pray.
We're going to pray. We're going to pray. We're going to pray. Pray out. Pray out.
Check.
We
Check,
gon'
check.
pray, we gon' pray, we gon' pray, we gon' pray,
Check, check.
pray out, pray out.
All minds are clear. Almighty Yahuwah, we give you praise and thanks. We thank you for your goodness and your faithfulness. We thank you for the word we heard today. Help us to take heed to the word and to continue to walk circumspectly and change the things that are in us that are not like you, Father. Give us strength. We know that you are made perfect in our weakness, Father. And we give you praise and thanks. We pray for all those who are sick. We pray for Sister Michelle and her marriage and her family, that you strengthen them and bring them back to a place that you would have them to be, Father. We ask that you just cover them and touch them, Father. We continue to pray for our brother Larry. Be brought back to us today, Father. We're thankful and grateful. We ask you to continue to touch him and heal him and touch his father. Give him strength in his mind and his body, Father. Allow the surgeons to be skillful and do what's necessary, Father, to bring his body back to health, Father. Allow him to do the things that he needs to do. Father, we pray for all who are apart from us today. We ask you to keep us safe from hurt, harm, and danger. We pray for marriages. We pray for every elder, every mother, every sister, every brother, our children. Keep them safe from the maniacs of the day, Father. And we just ask you to keep us and protect us and keep our minds stayed on you. All these things we give thanks and praise through the name and third of Yahushua HaMashiach. So be it.
Our Father, which is in heaven,
Which is in heaven.
hallowed be your name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Your kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come.
your will be done
Thy will be done
on earth
on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread.
and forgive us our debts
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
Lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver
but
us
deliver us
from the evil
from
one.
the evil one.
For yours is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom
and the power,
and the power
and the glory,
and esteem
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.